How's it going, everyone? I hope you guys are having a great day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this really hacky solar system using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's going to be straightforward. Hopefully, you're going to learn a little bit of math. But for the most part, this is pretty interesting to know how to do. Just know how to rotate some planets around a center. And that's about it. So if you're interested in watching, be sure to stick around. All right, so to get started, I have an image of a star system that I'm going to basically apply to the background. So on our CSS, I can say body background image URL, pass it that URL, and you can see the image pops up on the right. I also want to give it a background size, make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't look so zoomed in. All right, so that's a good place to start with. Second thing we probably want to work on is if we're doing a solar system, we want the planets to revolve around the sun. So let's make a class, I guess I could say, and call it sun. I'm also going to make one called planet, panel planet, which is just going to have like the typical stuff you might want for a planet div, such as like border radius and rounding and stuff. So right now, let's just add a div here in the HTML, and I'm going to give it sun and planet. And let's see if we can get this to show up as a red star at the center of the screen. Yeah, so for the planet, let's just go ahead and say border radius is 50%. Background could be red, width could be like 50 pixels, height could be 50 pixels, position could be absolute. So now we got a little red circle that could be our sun, and we want to center it on the page. Now I'm actually going to do centering by, actually the color I want to put on the sun class. So let me put that up here on the planet. Not all the planets are going to be red. Cool. So the positioning of the planet, I want it to be centered in the page. I'm going to use JavaScript to do that, just because I'm going to have to use that to know where the planets need to revolve around. So inside JavaScript, I can say const sun x is equal to window.inner width divided by 2. And then sun y would be inner height. So inner height. And I want to grab that planet, that sun, and I want to kind of style it and move it to the center of the page. So I could say document query selector, pass it the sun class, and we can get that sun back as a DOM object. And then we can apply a style to it. So I can say sun.style.left is equal to, let's say sun x of pixels. And then the same thing with the right, or the top, I could say sun y. So you'll notice that it's a little bit off. It's because we also need to subtract the width of the sun, which happens to be 25. So I'm just going to do a quick hack right now and just subtract 25 from these, and that should move it to the correct position. All right, so now we want to make like another planet and start having them revolve around the sun. So let's just try to start with one. So let's make, what is the first planet that's in our solar system? Mercury. Let's try to make Mercury. And I'll make a class called Mercury. And I'll say background color is, what color is that? Like a lava color. I'll just do tan for right now, but we can style these later on. And I want to make a planet up in the HTML section, and I'm going to call it Mercury instead of planet. And then we should see a tan circle pop up. Okay, so the Mercury is going to be a little bit smaller than the sun, obviously. So I'm going to say width of like 10 pixels and height of 10 pixels. And I think it's smaller than the Earth and Venus. I don't really know. I might have to look at more pictures. So that looks really small. Let's do 15, 15. So same idea is we want to position this Mercury planet using JavaScript. So I could say const Mercury is equal to document.query selector .mercury. And then we want to position it based on where the sun is. Actually, so instead of positioning it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing some logic so that we can have it rotate around the sun. We're going to basically have an interval. So I'm going to say set interval, which is just going to be a function that gets called every 100 milliseconds for right now. And inside of that, we can basically just update the positions of all the suns. So I'm going to right now, I'll make another helper function called function update planet. And inside our interval, we can say update Mercury. So I'm basically taking that Mercury object and I'm going to just update it. Let me increase this because it's going to slow down my computer if I do that. So what I'm actually going to do is instead of just grabbing Mercury, I'm going to make an object with some data in it that I can have like more information about the X and the Y and the rotation speed and stuff like that. So instead of just doing Mercury is equal to document query selector, I'm going to let Mercury be an object with an EL in it, which stands for element, and we can update the element based on every tick. So Mercury, I'm going to give it a speed, just a random speed, and we can kind of tweak this as we go, just so we know how fast it needs to revolve around the sun. And then secondly, we could give it a, I guess a theta, and we can just start that at 0 for right now. And we can also give it a radius, and we will give the radius 100, just to see how this looks. So if you know anything about math, which I hope you do, you can position an object based on like a circle using cosine and sine. So every update, when we try to update the planet, we could simply say planet.theta equals or plus equals planet.speed, and that'll basically make it start going around. And then we need to change the position. So what I'm going to do is copy this left and top styling. And instead of saying sun X and sun Y, I'm going to say math of cosine of planet.theta times planet of radius. And I'm going to do the same thing for the Y, but I'm going to use sine instead of cosine. Yeah, so hopefully this works out pretty good. I have an error on the page, unexpected token. Let me get rid of that. Alright, so we're still getting some errors. What's this error down here? Mercury is not Mercury. Make sure you spell your name, your variables correctly. Man, I keep getting all these errors. Alright, so what's going on here? Oh, we're still updating the sun. That's my bad. I need to actually say planet.el. Planet.el. Now, hopefully, it should start updating Mercury based on... Okay, I need to offset it. So I need to basically... It is rotating right now. In fact, let me speed it up a little bit so you can actually see what's going on. I'm going to speed it up, and you should see it start rotating at a quicker pace. But we need to actually add some offset to make it centered around the sun. So I could just literally just add inside of here, probably add sun X and add sun Y and see what happens. Now that might be off by a little bit. I might need to either add or subtract 25. But let us just go ahead and increase the speed at this planet a little bit. So if you just go here and update speed, that should increase it. So it definitely looks like there's more space over here, and then it gets closer on the right side. So yeah, I think I definitely need to add 25 because that is the width of the sun. So let me just hack that in there. And you'll notice here it's kind of choppy, so let's reduce the interval to 10 milliseconds. And then we should see a quickly rotating planet, and that is super fast. So let's just reduce the speed a little bit. All right, and then also the radius, we can kind of reduce it if we wanted to get it closer to the sun. So we could do something like that, or even 50. So let's try to work on the other planets now. So this shouldn't take too much work to get it all going. We need to do Venus. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another Venus class. Venus, and that width is I think bigger than like Earth and bigger than Mars. And then up in our HTML, I'll just add a Venus planet. And what color is Venus? That looks tan too. Let's just pick a random color. Could be let's make this one orange. How about that? Alright, so for Venus, we're basically going to do the same approach here for Mercury. We're going to kind of define some data that describes what Venus does, how fast it goes, the radius. And Venus needs to be at a further radius than Mercury. Make sure I grab the correct L there. And the speed, we'll mess with that in a second. But basically, to get this going as well, we could just say update Venus. And hopefully that should work. All right, so now we got them all rotating around the sun. But you'll notice that they're on the exact same, like, I think I need to do some subtraction, but I think this is cool. It doesn't really matter. You need to do some offsetting based on like how big Venus is or how big Mercury is, but I think that looks pretty cool. Other than that, they're colliding. So let's just go ahead and add like 105 or 100. And then if you wanted to change it so they're not like perfectly in sync, you could just say math. You could just change this to like something random too. It's like 0.4. It's not the best, but hey, it works. All right, so we're basically just keep doing the same approach. I might come back and fix the offset, but it's not that big of a deal. All right, so the next one would be Earth, I believe. So let's just go ahead and make a Earth one. By the way, you can double click these tabs and have them expand. So that would probably save us some time. I will change Earth. Earth would probably look good blue, and I think it's probably smaller than Venus. And then in the JavaScript, let's just do the same thing. So we're just going to make a Venus one, or sorry, an Earth one. And we'll change this to be like 1.2 or something random here so they're not all in the same path. Give it some more radius. Make this one go a little faster. And we can kind of grab the element from Earth. Then of course, we'll just go down here and say Earth. Now at this point, you might notice, okay, we are doing a lot of the same things for these planets. So what we could probably do is put them all in an array. And say like Mercury, Venus, Earth. And then we could do a for each and say update. So that should be the exact same basically functionality, but it's a little bit cleaner. We dried that code up a little bit. Let's just keep going. So the next planet would be Mars. So copy this. Mars, style it. Mars could be red as well. I don't know if it's bigger than Earth, but I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. And we'll do the same thing. So here we will say, make us a Mars. I think Earth is going a little too fast, so let's slow down the Earth and Mars. And we can do this. We can make it go further than, and then paste into our planets array, and then it should automatically update. All right, what else can we do? Jupiter and Saturn. We're gonna run out of space on this. Our planets are a little big, but let's try to do Jupiter. Jupiter, is that how you spell it? I think so. And we'll style that one, and we'll just give it the same style as the rest. Let me try to fix my child's head before her neck breaks. She always likes to throw her head back like that. Alright, so it's not Jupiter. That's my bad. It's Jupiter. I'm telling you, English is hard for me for some reason. I feel dumb. Look at this. I'm gonna throw her head back again. Alright, so Jupiter could be like a yellow. And we're just gonna do the same thing. At this point, like, if you're still watching this tutorial, this is gonna be the same crap for every single planet. But maybe we can kill more than... Ooh, let's make sure we... Jupiter. Second update. There we go. Alright, we got Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So what I'm gonna do is just try to bust these out real quick. Saturn. Is that with a... That's with the U. Saturn. We'll give it a bigger radius of like 240. Jupiter probably needs to go out further, so I'll say like 230. Saturn could be like 280. Give it like a random theta. Give this one like a random theta of 2.3 or something. Uranus, did I spell that right? Wait, there's Jupiter. It's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Neptune. Cool. Alright, let's just grab all of these. Save us some time. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus. Yeah, I think we're almost there. Now we just need to actually make like the diffs for those. Neptune. It's complaining about something. Anyway, let's just try to... Oh, let's fix the JavaScript first because it's definitely complaining about something. Cannot read property math of... it's probably one of these planets I'm just not grabbing correctly. Neptune, Saturn... But Jupiter's working fine. Why is this failing? Cannot read property style of null. So I'm trying to grab something that doesn't exist. So is that coming from Jupiter? At this point, I don't know if something's not refreshing because like these shouldn't be displaying anymore or rendering. So I think my app might be frozen. So what I'm gonna do is just do a hard refresh. Hopefully that fixes it. Yeah, it's definitely frozen. Alright, let's see if this helps. What did I miss? What did I screw up? Alright, we're gonna keep the interval higher just for right now so that it doesn't get broken again, but I'm gonna add in Mars and Jupiter because I think those are working. Try Saturn, see if Saturn's working. Uranus should be there. Neptune should be there. Alright, so Neptune. Let's style this. This could be like cyan. And this one I think is smaller. No, it's pretty big as well. Give it 40. Uranus could be... What color should Uranus be? Pink. There we go. Uranus is like a green actually. Let's make it green. And then Saturn, Neptune. I think that's everything. Wait, am I missing Saturn? Yeah, I'm missing Saturn. Saturn. Saturn could be... what's another color? Purple. There we go. Alright, so at this point, we could probably just increase the refresh. Alright, so now let's just fix the, give them different thetas. In fact, what I could probably do is say math.random and then just times it by math of pi. That might work better, because then it's just like everything's just going to be a random position. I don't have to worry about hard coding these things. Tedious, man. Oh, 2 pi, not pi. Ugh, come on now. Alright, let me go back through and fix all these and just times it by 2 pi. Let me copy this so I don't have to keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Alright, copy this, copy that, blah blah blah. 2 pi is a full circle if you're not familiar. And that is one way you can do it. Now I think we'd also want to do the randomness with like the speed maybe? Maybe that'll make it look better. Neptune should be like... Yeah, they're like going off the page now, so you know what? It's good enough, right? We're not building something that anyone's going to use, so let's just give it all random speeds and see how this looks. Let me add some base speed so that it's not like super slow on some of these planets. Oh no. Hope I didn't break my app, because now I have like commas everywhere. Bro. There you have it. So I think you could probably do a lot of work to actually make this look like a solar system, because right now it looks pretty whack. You could probably have like trails following these, and you could make it so they don't overlap each other. This is kind of ghetto rigged, I'll be honest with you all, but that is how you can build out a hacky solar system using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And if you like watching this video, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you thought this solar system sucks.